Good morning, everybody. You want to call the roll, please, Sandra?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Secretary Chaudhry,
Here.
Mr. Derenberg,
Here.
Vice Chair Eberhardt, Jill Lemke as designee for Secretary Flora,
Here.
Mr. Gibbons is absent, Ms. Lala,
Here.
Krishna Talur as designee for Dr. Wright,
Here.
and Chair Casemeyer.
Here. Thank you.
You have a quorum, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Do we have any public comment today?
No, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Alex, you want to give your director's report, please?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair, and good morning to all the members of the commission. So good to see you all together. As we have a relatively long meeting ahead of us today, I'll make my executive director's report as concise as I can, mentioning 3 items. The first is a brief report on our experience in our 4 annual budget hearings in Annapolis. Each year, the budget subcommittees of the General Assembly call leaders of each major state agency to testify in response to the legislative staff's and committee's questions around the agency's ongoing operations and its proposed budgets for the coming fiscal year. As usual, Chair Casemeyer and I, supported by key staff members, visited the 2 relevant subcommittees in the House and 2 in the Senate. The consistently positive and supportive response and receptions we received at all 4 reflect what I think is a high level of confidence in the IAC and in our transparent and collaborative approach to doing the work of the agency. In one hearing, the committee members gave the IAC kudos for having come a long way forward from where the agency was perceived to have been in past eras. One senator approvingly cited 2 of the IAC's recent efforts, namely the IAC's new policy to allow state capital investment in leased facilities and our strong support of Prince George's County's efforts to establish a strong second public-private partnership program as examples of the IAC's increased responsiveness to the needs of Maryland's LEAs. So I wanted to make sure you had that feedback from Annapolis. The second item I'll mention today is about our ongoing efforts to boost engagement with counties and boards of education. Last month, I reported that I've been working to schedule a second visit to Worcester County to meet with the County Commission and the Board of Education. That visit is now calendared for the first week in April. In that meeting, some staff members and I will present to the County Commission a set of information that builds upon what we shared in early February with Superintendent Taylor, the Commission President, one board member, and also will share additional information about potential project scenarios that they can consider. We'll be there to engage, discuss, answer questions, and assist the commissioners and the Board of Ed in considering different potential approaches to meeting their portfolio needs. I expect that all effective approaches, though, will involve partnership between Worcester County and the state. It's my hope that these collaborative efforts will bear fruit that will serve as a model for other counties as each county works to achieve a facilities portfolio that's both educationally sufficient and fiscally sustainable. I look forward to providing you with updates in the future as this process unfolds. And third final item I'll mention today is the current status of the IAC's expected appropriations for fiscal year 2025, and an update on progress of the CIP for 25 that's been underway since October. The most recent information we have from the governor's office and the budget bills from the General Assembly suggests that, barring unexpected changes between now and late April, we're likely to receive about $314 million for the capital improvement program, which is about $30 million more than the historical annual amount, plus about $136 million more divided in the typical statutory amounts across the IAC's other programs. These amounts add up to the $450 million total target that the General Assembly set for itself in legislation in recent years. So the state is essentially on target for state capital funding to school construction. And staff are going to continue to work with the LEAs to resolve any outstanding issues that might be hindering project eligibility. and that have to be resolved prior to the final round of recommendations that we'll bring to you at your May meeting. There's no question that every dollar appropriated will be allocated in this final round in May. The need is certainly there. As you saw in recent rounds, the request level was a little bit over $1 billion this year, and obviously with 314 million for the CIP, we're nowhere near having enough to meet all the requests. And so the process is challenging and very, very deep in the details to make sure that we're putting the appropriations that we do receive to the best possible use in that demand, in the face of all that demand. So we'll have more information, obviously, in the coming weeks and months. And also, just a final note, in April, staff will be seeking your approval on the recommended allocation schedules for the Aging Schools Program and the Healthy School Facilities Fund programs. This concludes my ED's report for today. I stand for any questions you might have.
Any questions for Alex? Okay. I also want to thank Cassandra and Arabia and Melissa for joining us in Annapolis at various times. I appreciate you coming down. Okay, the consent agenda. Anything there, Alex, we want to talk about?
Just the standard this month of administrative items, including minutes, contract awards, one easement, one site approval. The contract awards this month contain an award for Wicomico Public Schools High School, Wicomico High School roof replacement project, which is contingent upon the cancellation of an existing contract for this project in item 9 of this agenda. So we've got a little bit of a interconnection between these two items, as you'll see. Otherwise, nothing unusual in this package.
Okay, to hear a motion for approval of the consent agenda. Mr. Derenberg, second by Ms. Lemke. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed?
Aye.
Thank you. Item 3, 21st Century School Buildings Program 2023 Annual Report. Melissa? Good to see you.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair Casemeyer and members of the Commission. Good morning. It's good to be with you all today. I'll provide a brief overview of the 21st Century Schools program, as well as a few details on staff review of the district-wide utilization rate and the comprehensive master plan. The Baltimore City Schools Construction and Revitalization Act of 2023 created the 21st Century Building Program. The goal of the program was to deliver between 23 and 28 renovated or replacement school projects through this partnership. The program was substantially complete in 2022, but through the expansion, it will now deliver 29 school buildings, housing 34 school programs, and be completed by 2026. Per Article 10, the Economic Development Article of the Code of Maryland, the partner shall annually report to the Governor, the Board of Public Works, and the General Assembly on the progress of replacements, renovations, and maintenance of Baltimore City Schools facilities. The report submitted for your approval covers the required topics. I'm going to just cover a few highlights. First is that there are 27 school buildings housing 31 school programs already completed. The most recent was Cross Country Elementary School, completed in winter of 2023 and opened to students this past January. Two schools are currently progressing through design and are scheduled for occupancy in August of 2026. Those include Commodore John Rogers Elementary Middle School Replacement Project and the Frederick Douglass Building Replacement Project, serving both Frederick Douglass High School and the Joseph C. Briscoe Academy. Per the MOU, the IAC has two responsibilities related to the annual report. The first is to review City Schools' progress toward attainment of district-wide utilization goals, and the second is to review City Schools' progress toward improvements in the comprehensive maintenance plan. IE staff review comments on the projected district-wide utilization can be found on page 28 of the annual report and are included for your approval today. In the program MOU, City Schools committed to a final district-wide utilization rate of 86% in the school year 2019-2020. The district exceeded this goal with an 87% utilization rate that year and in 21 and 22. District-wide utilization fell to 85% in 22 and 23. However, Primary due to the city schools' sustained efforts to surplus buildings, it's risen to 87% again in school year 23 and 24. IAC staff review of and comments on the comprehensive maintenance plan can be found on page 52 of the report and included for your approval. As required by the 21st Century Buildings Program MOU, City Schools has committed to increasing its annual facilities maintenance and operation budget to better meet the level of need. For the 2024 city school year or fiscal year, the schools increased their FM&O budget by approximately $4.4 million to a total of $43.4 million. The IAC acknowledges and strongly supports this added level of investment by city schools and school facilities and the ongoing work to achieve their goals. I'll read the motion.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Okay. To approve the 21st Century School Buildings Program 2023 annual report dated January 17th, 2024 by the parties in compliance with the Memorandum of Understanding for the construction and revitalization of Baltimore City Public Schools for presentation to the Governor, the Board of Public Works, and the fiscal committees of the General Assembly on the progress of construction and maintenance of the Baltimore City Public School facilities.
Thanks, Melissa. Do I hear a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Moved by Senator Law, second by Mr. Gibbons. Any questions, excuse me, about Melissa's report? All in favor, say aye or raise your hand. Any
Aye.
opposed? Thank you, Melissa.
Thank you.
Let's move on to item 4, FY 2023 Capital Improvement Program Rescission Request, Carroll County Public Schools, South Carroll High School window replacement. Terry Sims and Sean Vorstig. Who's going to start?
Good morning, Mr. Chair and members of the Commission.
Morning.
Carroll County Public School System is requesting having a little bit of technical difficulty there. Carroll County Public School System recently requested that $1,357,000 awarded to South Carroll High Window Project submitted through the FY 2023 Capital Improvement Program be canceled to address the funding needs for other critical projects in the county, and because it is unlikely that this project will be under contract by the required May 31st, 2004 deadline. The local education agency has also requested that the funds be transferred to their prior year reserve account. The LEA maintains that until a reevaluation of all their projects is completed and included in their FY 2025 Educational Facilities Master Plan, they will be unable to confirm whether or not the window replacement project for South Carroll will be resubmitted in the FY 2026 Capital Improvement Program. I will read the motion now, which is to approve Carroll County Public Schools' request to rescind funding for the FY 2023 Capital Improvement Program South Carroll High School Window Replacement Project, and to approve the transfer of the funding to the LEA's prior year reserve account. Sean Vorstig, the Capital Projects Manager for Carroll County, is available to answer any project-specific questions that you may have.
Thank you, Terry. Do I hear a motion to that effect? Ms. Lemke, second by Secretary Chaudhry. Any comments or questions for Terry or Sean about the project? Hearing none, all in favor say aye or raise your hands.
Aye.
Any noes? Okay, thank you. Thank you all. Item 5, FY 2020 Capital Improvement Program Funding Adjustments, Baltimore City Public Schools, Marie G. Faring Elementary Middle Annex. Gene Shanholtz.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and members.
Hi, Gene. Go ahead.
Hi. The IAC awarded local planning approval to City Schools Marie G. Faring Elementary Middle Annex Renovation Addition Project in the FY 2020 CIP and awarded funding totaling $4.5 million in the FY 23 and 24 CIPs. The annex building currently houses early childhood students on an adjacent property that was formerly a church and is not directly connected to the existing Marie G. Faring main structure. City Schools has requested to rescind the FY 2023 project and amend the FY 2024 CIP to resubmit it. Due to the considerable amount of time from initial project planning approval to project bid, and needed project scope development that took place during that time period, IAC staff support the request to rescind the project and amend the FY 2024 CIP to include a new project that reflects up-to-date project details. In addition, City Schools has also requested a gross area baseline or GAB variance due to specific project-related programming and an increase to the maximum state allocation because of unavoidable market-driven cost escalation. Our regulations provide that the IAC funds projects at the funding factors that were in place at time of project bid. Because this project was bid in March of 2023, the new GABs that the IAC approved in September and October were not yet in place. As a result, the IAC's original 2022 funding allocation covered only 18,890 gross square foot out of the more than 29,000 gross square foot design. Given the school's programmatic needs and the efforts of the IAC's Blueprint GAB work group to determine the square footage needs for modern school facilities, IAC staff recommend that the project utilize the updated GABs and GAB add-ons. Applying the updated GABs would bring the state funding participation level up by 10,175 gross square foot to 29,065 gross square foot to support the project's design square footage. IAC staff supports approving this GAB variance request. Bids for the project were received in March of 2023 with good participation and a narrow spread in proposals. City Schools has requested to increase the maximum state allocation for the project pursuant to COMAR 1439-0207C. COMAR requires that three elements be satisfied in order to approve a maximum state allocation increase for projects other than systemics. These are that 1, the project has a crucial impact on the LEA's budget, 2, the LEA has taken reasonable actions to reduce construction costs, and 3, that the increased construction costs have resulted from exceptional circumstances different from those that confront most projects in the state or region. IAC staff find that each COMAR requirement is satisfied, and the IAC designees have recommended that the IAC approve the requested increase in the maximum state allocation. In addition, the state superintendent of schools has determined that the project meets the additional eligibility requirements listed in COMAR 1439-0207C2, and therefore recommends that this request be approved. The motion is to approve the following adjustments requested by Baltimore City Public Schools for the Marie G. Faring Elementary Middle Annex Renovation Addition Project. Rescission of the FY 2023-2024 Capital Improvement Funding Program. Approval of $4.5 million for the facilities renovation addition project to transfer the rescinded funding to the LEA's prior year reserve account. A gross area baseline variance for an additional 10,175 gross square feet. An amendment to the FY 2024 CIP to include a new Baltimore City Marie G. Faring Annex Renovation Addition project with maximum state allocation of $14,892,000. An increase to the eligible building cost per square foot for the project to $486, which results in an increase of the maximum state allocation from $14,892,000 to $18,809,000 based upon bids received and pursuant to COMAR 1439-0207C as reflected in the presented project worksheet. And finally, to allocate $4.5 million from the LEA's reserve fund to this project. I will now stand for questions.
Thank you, Gene. Quite
You're welcome.
complicated. Do I hear a motion to that effect to support the motion that Gene referred to? Krishna, and second by Ms. Everhart. Discussion. Alex, you want to comment any about this fairly complicated?
Sure. I'll just make a
project?
brief mention that this project has been, in process for a number of years now. It has been a challenging one for city schools. It has included a number of twists and turns. And because of that extra time, some of these factors have shifted enough to make the cost require essentially an update to the funding to make it a proper state level participation. And that's what these 5 changes do. I know these are kind of a complicated tangle of things, it appears, but this is what's going to get the best outcome, I think, for the project and for city schools in this. And another benefit is that it puts to work the $4.5 million in the reserve fund on the project to result in improvements for the students of city schools, and is reducing the amount of dollars that were appropriated from prior years that were sitting uncommitted to a project. So this is another good step forward for city schools in using those dollars.
Thank you. Any other questions on this motion? Mr. Gibbons? You're on mute.
I'm sorry.
Here.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, sorry about that. My concern is the $486 a foot building cost. Is there a reason why it's so high?
There are various factors specifically related to this project. It is being a portion of the remaining building is in a historic church, so that drives up the building cost per square foot. In addition to, there are some site logistical issues related to just how small the footprint is, getting materials in and out. In addition to, this is overall a very small project in comparison to a lot of the other major capital projects we have across the state. So the economy of scale is also not there.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay,
Right.
thank you.
One further note I'd like to make on that. IAC staff have received bid information from a number of other projects around the state that are well over $500 a square foot. So this is really not at all an outlier. It's actually not in the top tier of current projects.
Alex, for your information, your
That's
mic.
not good news, but
Yeah.
it simply tries to put this in a little more perspective.
Alex, your mic is just, we can hear you, but it's kind of muffled. Just so I don't know if you can make an
Thank
adjustment.
you. I will increase that.
Yeah. Any other questions on this project? All in favor of the motion, say aye or raise your hands. Any opposed? Thank you. And thank you, Gene, for that explanation.
You're welcome, Mr. Chair.
Item 6, pass-through grant amendment, Baltimore County Public Schools, Towson High School, and Scotts Branch Elementary School. Tanya and Lisa.
Good morning,
Yes,
Mr.
Deanna.
Chair, members of the Commission.
Good morning.
In calendar year 2022, Senate Bill 291, Maryland Laws, Chapter 344, appropriated $237 million to be distributed to specific local education agencies for school construction projects selected by each county. The IAC has implemented this mandate as the Pass-Through Grant or PTG program. On January 5th, 2024, Baltimore County Schools notified IAC staff of their request to rescind the IAC's May 2023 allocation of pass-through grant funds in the amount of $20 million for the Towson High School renovation addition project. Because this project is eligible for funding through other state programs, the LEA is requesting that the IAC shift the $20 million in funding from the Towson High School project to the Scotts Branch Elementary replacement project to address a funding shortage for that specific project. Staff of the IAC are in support of amending the two PTG awards in Baltimore County, and I will now proceed with the motion, which is to approve the rescission of $20 million of pass-through grant funds for the Baltimore County Public Schools renovation addition project at Towson High School and apply the $20 million in pass-through grant funds to the replacement project at Scotts Branch Elementary, thereby increasing the award from $10 million to $30 million.
Thank you, Tanya. Do I hear a motion to that effect, please? Ms. Everhart and Mr. Gibbons seconds. Any discussion on this motion? Any questions? Okay. All in favor, say aye or raise your hands. Any opposed? Thank you very much. Okay, let's move on to item 7, FY 2021 School Safety Grant Program Extension Request, Baltimore County Public Schools Intercom Replacement Projects. Tatiana, we have you again, and Lisa.
Sure. So Baltimore County Public Schools submitted a 5-month extension request to the fiscal year 2021 School Safety Grant Program expenditure and reimbursement deadlines for the Cockeysville Middle School and Dogwood Elementary School intercom replacement projects. The reason for these requests is to address the unforeseen delays with the receipt of materials and supplies, and also to be in line with the contractor's schedule. Please note that the IEC amended the fiscal year 2021 school safety grant program application at your September 2022 meeting to provide some level of relief to the LEAs facing supply and demand issues. Your staff are in support of the LEA's request and recommend approval. I can read the motion now,
Please.
which is to approve an extension to the fiscal year 2021 school safety grant program expenditure deadline from March 29th, 2024 to August 30th, 2024, and the reimbursement request deadline from August 5th, 2024 to January 5th, 2025 for the Baltimore County Public Schools intercom replacement projects at Cockeysville Middle School and Dogwood Elementary School. And Lisa is also available to provide additional context if needed.
Thank you. Would someone like to make the motion to that? Ms. Lemke makes the motion. Ms. Everhart seconds. Any discussion or questions? Mr. Derenberg.
So if I remember, the school safety grant program was a limited package for a limited time, right? Is that correct? It's not an
Yes.
ongoing.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Right. That's why I wanted to know. So it's not an ongoing thing. It's a one-time
Well,
shot.
it has been operating for a handful of years. There is a possibility under current pending bills in the General Assembly that it might be extended for another
Okay.
year plus. So we're waiting to see what happens there. But it is, this is again just one of the victims of the post-pandemic supply chain issues, and we want to help Baltimore County get these projects done appropriately.
Yeah, because it's more than just intercoms. I mean, listening to a classroom. Right? I mean, that
Right.
same.
Yeah, it plays into the rest of the
access to
security
it.
approach to the school.
Right. Okay, great. Thank you.
Any other questions? All in favor of the motion, say aye. Raise your hands. Any opposed? Thank you. Okay, item 8, FY 2021-2023 Healthy School Facility Fund Amendment, Wycomico County Public Schools. Sharon and Sean.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and Commission
Good morning.
members. How are you doing?
Good, you?
I'm great. This agenda item pertains to a request from Wycomico County Public Schools regarding the Healthy School Facility Fund. On Wednesday, December 13th, 2023, the IAC staff received notification that 3 projects for fiscal years 2021 and 2022 came in under budget. The LEA seeks approval to reallocate the surplus funds from those projects to the Wycomico High School roof project for fiscal year 2023. Now I'll read the motion.
Okay.
The motion is to approve amendments to the FY 2021 through FY 2023 Healthy School Facility Fund awards for Wycomico County Public Schools as presented in these items. I'll now leave it to Sean to add any background context and ask any questions.
All right. Would someone like to make that motion, please? Kristen, thank you. Second by Mr. Gibbons. Any questions or comments about this issue? All in favor of the motion, say aye. Raise your hands. Any opposed? Thank you. Thank you, Sharon. Okay, item 9, cancellation of contract award, Wycomico County Public Schools, Wycomico High School. Sharon, again, you're up.
I'm actually presenting this one, sir.
Mr.
Chair.
Okay.
Yep.
Mr. Chair, Sean will be presenting. Yes.
Okay.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, Commission members. On January 12th, 2023, the IAC approved a contract between Wycomico County Public Schools and SGK Contracting Incorporated in the amount of $8,480,000 for construction services for the 3-phase roof replacement project at Wycomico High School, PSC number 22009. On September 7th, 2023, WCPS notified SGK Contracting that the contract for phases 2 and 3 was terminated for convenience, effective October 6, 2023. Wycomico County Public Schools submitted a new contract approval package for phases 2 and 3 through a construction manager at risk contract. This contract approval was included in today's consent agenda, contingent upon the IAC's approval of the contract cancellation in this item. To date, there's been $3,310,951.81 in state funds expended on the contract. I'll now read the motion.
Okay.
The motion is to approve the cancellation of the contract award to SG Contracting Incorporated for construction services for phase 2 and 3 of the three-phase roof replacement project at Wacomico High School.
Thank you, Sean. Would someone like to make that motion, please? Ms. Lemke, second by Mr. Derenberg. Questions for discussion? Comments? All in favor of the motion, say aye. Raise your hand. Any opposed? Thank you very much. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you.
Item 10, FY 2024 Non-Public Aging Schools Program, Project Approval and Awards. Jillian Storms, Executive Director, Maryland State Department of Education, Office of School Facilities.
Good morning,
Good.
Mr. Chair and Commission
Morning.
members. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Great. The Office of School Facilities is prepared to present this year's Non-Public Aging Schools Program, and Myron Mason, the program's administrator, will share with you the details of this year's award recommendations and will read the motion for approval. Myron?
Thank you.
Yes. Good morning, Mr. Chair and
Good morning.
Commission members. The Senator James E. Ed DeGrange Non-Public Aging Schools Program provides funds for capital improvements in non-public school facilities that are at least 16 years old. 3 criteria determines the amount of the allocation. 1, tuition less than the state average per pupil expenditure for public schools. 2, at least 20% of the students will be eligible for free or reduced price meals. And 3, the school facility has an average age of 50 years or more. Total appropriation is $3,500,000. Although the statutory maximum funding levels are $25,000 for criterion 1, $75,000 for 2, and $100,000 for 3, or for non-public placement schools, the number of eligible applications require prorating of the funding based on those proportional maximum allocations. The school projects and their assigned allocations start on page 147 of the agenda. The FY 2024 grant provides funding for 186 schools and 20 jurisdictions totaling $3,499,999.88. The motion is to approve the FY 2024 Senator James E. Ed DeGrange Non-Public Aging Schools Program Project Awards as presented, totaling $3,499,999.88. With that, I'll be happy to stand for any questions.
Do I hear a motion to that effect, please? Secretary Chaudhry, seconded by Ms. Lemke. Questions? How many? Oh, Mr. Derenberg, go ahead.
I just have one comment. Thank you for not putting down other this year.
You're welcome.
It does my heart good.
Okay, is that it? Krishna?
Thank you, Chair Kesmar, and Mr. Derenberg, thank you for remembering and acknowledging that other category was not put in place in this year's report. I wanted to take a moment to thank both Mr. Mason and Ms. Storms for their work in administering the program, and thank IAC staff for their collaboration and support as they do each year. Thank you.
Thank you for those kind words. Yeah, I just learned a little bit about this the other day from Alex, but how many schools apply?
Applied so far, altogether 186 applied for FY24. Usually it ranges between 107 to sometimes 200. It varies by year.
How many awards do we give? How many grants?
So for each criteria, let's see here. Bear with me. So for criteria 1, we gave $7,085.02. For those who met criteria 2, $21,200.
No, I mean, how many schools got some money?
Oh, 186. 186 schools.
Okay. Alex, do you want to explain this a little bit to people who may not know in terms of how this particular grant functions?
So just in summary, this is a supplemental amount of state dollars that go to facilities for non-public schools that also connect to the eligibility for state support for textbook loan programs. And so this is kind of part of a two-pronged approach by the state to add support to non-public schools because they're serving students. And in most of the cases here, as you can see under the criteria, they do it efficiently and or they serve students that are low income, and they're making do with facilities that are already pretty aged. And so there's typically a need there on the facility side for investments in those facilities.
MSDE actually selects the awardees.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, Chair, almost everybody does get awarded. There are sometimes exceptions if they don't qualify for the age of the school or whatever, but there's about 8 more applicants this year than there were last year. So every time you have more requesting more, it gets divided a little smaller.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you all for your explanations. I appreciate it. Any other questions on the motion? All in favor, say aye or raise your hands. Any opposed? Motion's passed. Anything else, Alex?
No, thank you, Mr. Chair. We're complete.
Okay. Do I hear a motion that we adjourn until next month? Mr. Gibbons, second by Ms. Lemke. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thanks for seeing you all today. Thanks for coming. Y'all take care. Bye-bye.